Well, attacks on the U.S. power grid are on the rise. Power substations in at least 5 states have been the target of attacks in recent months. The most recent incident occurred in Washington state, which left thousands of people without power on Christmas Day. This led federal regulators to order a review of security standards at power stations across the U.S., Canada, and parts of Mexico. So I want to bring in Adrienne Lotto to talk a little bit more about this. She is the Senior Vice President of Grid Security and Technical Operations Services for the American Public Power Association. Listen, Adrienne, I'm sure you were hanging on there for a while as we were talking to the lawmaker, so I appreciate your patience with us. What exactly will federal regulators be looking for in this review?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. So the federal regulators will be determining whether or not SIP 14, which is the current standard, is sufficient. They're going to take a look, working with NERC and industry experts, to understand whether or not federal regulations are expansive enough, or whether or not there's or should be an additional bolstering of SIP 14 requirements to determine whether or not physical security risk assessments should go even further.
So why are power grids an attractive targets for nefarious actors, and why are they hard to protect?
Unfortunately, there's a number of bad actors who want to target the electric grid for any number of reasons. It's hard to get into minds of perpetrators, but we have seen there is a firm understanding by perpetrators that the American economy, our way of life, relies upon the electric grid. And so to the extent that perpetrators can try to disrupt that for any number of reasons, whether it's theft, cutting off service to certain businesses in an attempt to then take advantage or rob those businesses. Unfortunately, the list is quite long, but I do want to commend law enforcement, particularly in Tacoma, where they have shown and the utilities have shown that, they will take perpetrators that try to affect the grid, to affect our way of life, seriously. And so I think that's a testament to the hard work of the utility, as well as local law enforcement, because I think catching these perpetrators for whatever their nefarious reasons are is one aspect, but then following through on strict prosecution of them is the second part of the challenge.
I think in Washington state, authorities, police there arrested a couple of guys who were burglars. They were, one of them allegedly said that they were looking to shut down the power so they could break into local businesses, which is really sort of low-level stuff. We are also dealing with domestic terrorists, people who are organized. I mean, how concerned are you that if, sort of low-level street crime people could shut down power, then, what would a more organized group be capable of?
I think certainly, as you've indicated, the rise, unfortunately, of domestic terrorism is occurring. DHS, our Department of Homeland Security, has issued a number of findings on that. But likewise, they have also released, as well as the Department of Energy and, our individual trades, security measures that show the electric grid is reliable. Overall, yes, we do have events that can disturb that grid, but more often than not, it is brought back very quickly and restored very quickly. So I think the resiliency of the grid should be highlighted. But you are right to say that the rise of domestic terrorism is unfortunately, and the targeting of the electric grid is unfortunately one of the ways bad actors attempt to influence our way of life. And as you said, even commit petty crime or crimes against small businesses.
Incredibly disturbing. Adrienne Lotto, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.